Hi everyone, this is a review of the LifeSpan TR1200-DT3 under desk treadmill. And obviously for those of you who are watching this, you're probably looking into purchasing one of these so that you can maintain a better health lifestyle by potentially walking your 10,000 steps minimum per day, or maybe because you suffer from back issues like I have in the past. I used to use one of those boards, fluid stance boards, but I didn't feel that it gave me quite the benefits that this does. And even after using this for some time in the day, I don't feel as tired in my back as I would had I just been sitting or using that kind of fluid stance. So obviously this treadmill fits under a height adjustable desk, and you pretty much need to have a height adjustable desk because you will be standing at a certain height, and then occasionally you'll be sitting when you get too tired of using this. But I'll go into the sitting details later. So about the treadmill itself, it comes with this control console. As you can see, it has time, pretty much how many steps you've taken, calories you've burnt, distance you've walked, and speed and weight are more features for the configuration. You've got up and down settings, stop, pause, start. It has a Bluetooth enabled capability. It has a security latch so that if you fall, this pulls out and that stops the treadmill. It also has on the back, you can see here, it has a USB port, which I really like because I keep my phone charging whilst I use this treadmill. And the Bluetooth comes with a LifeSpan Health app that they have that you can download for free. My advice on using that app is that when you do sync with the Bluetooth, you have to have Bluetooth on your phone. Then you push this button. You start the app, you push this button, and then you have to hold the phone really close to this. If you're even like 10 centimeters off, it's not going to sync. You need to like lay it on here pretty much. And then it syncs every single time. I think one of the drawbacks of the app, which is a relatively simple sports app, to be honest, it's definitely nothing super complex, is that you have to watch out that if you've done a workout, let's say you worked out yesterday and you did 10,000 steps, and then you forgot to sync, you come back to the treadmill and you decide to sync the next day, well, it's going to sync it as if you just did those 10,000 steps. It'll put them on today instead of yesterday, which I think is kind of messed up because I always forget, and then after I've done like 3-4 days, I'll sync and it'll put it all on the day that I'm syncing instead of showing me what I've done over the days. So either you're really rigid and you sync every time you finish it, or you just have to live with it. So other thing about this control panel is that it beeps by default when you get it out of the shop, and it's a very noisy beep. It can be really annoying. Every time you raise the speed or lower the speed, it beeps. But you have an engineering mode that you can go into by doing a special sequence, which I'll put the details below. And you can basically disable the beeping. What you can also do is that when you see it right now, it's just saying 70. I'm not sure why it says 70, to be honest, but when I start, it does a countdown, and then it's starting now at 0.6, probably kilometers per hour, because it's showing the speed right there. And that's very slow. I mean, you can see here, I mean, it's really slow. And that's obviously a safety feature. And if I increase it to a higher speed, let's say 2 kilometers per hour, then what you'll, if you stop completely, right, if I start again, it will actually go back to 2.0. You see? That's something that I also enabled in the engineering mode or the expert mode of this panel. So those are a couple of features. So those details will be down in the details below. Okay. Another thing you'll notice here, if I go to steps, for example, it shows 3 steps, and they're not going up, but the treadmill is running. So basically what this treadmill has, it has the ability to feel your steps. Now I'm walking and it's counting. See? And I think that's a great feature because you're basically not able to cheat. And on top of it, if you get off the treadmill for a certain amount of time, it will automatically stop as a safety feature. What you'll notice, I'm going to stop it right now. What you'll notice is also that this treadmill is slightly shorter than your typical treadmill at the gym. That's good because you don't have endless space in an office. It does not have the handrails, so you obviously don't have that extra security from you falling off of the treadmill. But it does go a lot slower than you would in a typical treadmill that you run or jog on, and hence the risk is lower. But still, I wouldn't keep anything dangerous behind it like this table that I've put here, and this is just for illustration purposes. This would be a very bad situation if you were to fall and then slam yourself up with your back or something into this. You could get some serious injuries. It's actually not illustrations, it's just temporary, very quick, because I needed to do some actual handiwork, but it'll definitely go away very soon. So onto the treadmill again. The speeds, I think it goes up to 6.4 kilometers an hour. It's a very fast walk or very light jog at its fastest. It doesn't go faster than that because these treadmills are geared differently, because the slower the treadmill is, the stronger the motor has to be, and it would burn out if they didn't change the gears on it if it's constantly going slow, like it would be when you're walking. Okay, so the treadmill has these feet that you can spin to get the right height so that you can align it on your floor. Then it has this groove that you can see here, the groove right here on both sides, and that groove is to either align it with your table that you have, the table leg, but actually it was initially put there so that if you purchase the DT5 model, that one comes with a desk from LifeSpan that you can put this and groove it into the table so it doesn't move back and forth. I don't find it to be a big problem if you use a third-party height adjustable table like this one. This is a very simple table from IKEA. Didn't cost more than 500 bucks. Switzerland, so 500 Swiss francs. In the US it's probably a lot cheaper. The back of this, you'll see that there's a connector for the control panel up on top of the desk, a power cable, then you have a power button on off. You can keep it on all the time unless you travel somewhere or you need to move it. And then it's got an overload switch right here. This is if for whatever reason the treadmill gets overloaded, which I've honestly only had happen one time, and I think it's because something got jammed into it. And the other thing is that it's got these wheels, these rubber wheels here on the front, and that makes it easier for you to lift it from this side, move it around, shove it under a bed or something like that, or tilt it up. But I don't think it's ideal for storing tilted up, and if you were to do it on your own, I think you could run into a situation where it's going to roll out under you or it's going to flip over. So not ideal. They could have done that better in terms of storage. Obviously, this does take more space than a normal chair, so that's one disadvantage with having a under table treadmill. It's not as beautiful as just having parquet floor or a nice chair. Then in addition to that, I think some of the other drawbacks that I've noticed, and I've used this treadmill for over a year now, is that obviously it's not something that you would necessarily want to have in a workplace. And when I say workplace, I mean a shared workplace with other people, because I think it would get on their nerves to hear the treadmill. I'll put it on again so you can get a sense of how loud it can be. Sorry. Start. Takes about a year to figure that one out. Okay, here we go. I'm putting it, I usually run it at around 3.5 or so kilometers per hour. So you can hear that, right? And then of course, your own feet. You can hear that. Now when you're working on this, it's not going to bother you. You won't even notice it. Unless you're listening to a symphony or something like that, yes, that can bother you. You won't be hearing the music as nicely as you would without the treadmill. But if I had to sit next to somebody using this, that would definitely go on my nerves after only a few hours. What else do I have to say about this? I think I paid about 1,200 Swiss francs, including delivery. It's well made, it's strong, it's durable. So I think that is not an issue. The only potential is this piece here of plastic. It's relatively thin, and as you can see, I can kind of bend it. So I think if you step on that, you could potentially crack it. I think that's maybe a con with it. When it comes to working at the desk, I think that some people could struggle with it at higher speeds because you do tend to go up and down. I don't have any problems with it really. When I use it for, let's say I use it for Word or Excel, or writing emails, or watching YouTube, or watching Netflix, or any of those kind of things, it's not a problem. Even gaming, I game a ton on this, no problem. The hours go by and I've got thousands of steps put in, and I've had a great time gaming without feeling as guilty as I would had I been just slouching on a seat all the time. So that's great. I think where it gets difficult is if you do more precision type of work, like I would say like editing videos, graphic designing, doing any kind of CAD, architectural stuff, things like this that require a lot of detail and precision with the mouse. That is not the best. If you're gaming and you want to be a sniper, it's not the best. So it's those kind of things where it can be more challenging. But otherwise, it's actually really, really great to have it. I recommend you get a spray like this. It's a silicone spray. You can fit it right underneath this. It's hard to get on it right now, but you can fit it underneath this rubber and then spray along the length of the rubber tarmac here. When it gets a little bit worn out, basically over time it slides less less smoothly, and so spraying that is a great way to get a bit of maintenance. What you'll notice is also that you see these hairs. So basically this builds up static electricity, and of course all the dirt on your shoes and so on will go and fall off the back. And you can see here, and I apologize, but you know, it's full of hairs and dust, which something to get used to. You need to clean that up regularly. It's just the way it is. Static electricity will build up, so take note of that. And if you're touching any sort of electrical instruments, just be aware that it could have some static electricity that could damage circuits and that kind of thing. Now, what happens when you've walked 10,000 feet and you're just like, oh, I'm tired, I want to sit down, but I still need to work? Well, height adjustable desk allows you to bring it down, right, to a certain height. And then what I do is I flop one of these stools onto the treadmill, and I sit on here at an angle like that, a little bit forward. This has got a soft rubber bottom footing. It does not come with the treadmill, unfortunately. I bought this separate, but this one is from Vidcon, which is a bit of an expensive brand, I have to admit. You can probably get something like this for nothing in the States, but I'm in Switzerland, so yeah, I got this. My company had a discount on it, so I managed to get that. And the nice thing about it is that it's got very little padding on the top. You might say that's not so great, but actually what that means is that I don't get too comfortable sitting on it, and so after an hour I want to get up and stand up again, and then I can walk again. So that's why I use that, and I would advise to get something like this. There are other things. It doesn't have to be a stool. Some of them come with some sort of springs and so on, but a normal office chair on here would not work. It would go up against this. I had a time when I tried to use another type of chair, and I kind of dented the plastic on the side, so I wouldn't recommend that. So I think that kind of covers it when it comes to this treadmill. I hope this has been useful for you, and thank you very much for tuning in.